one go.
Yeah, I was like, nope, that's just emails. How very dull. We've got cocktails, we've got prams, we've got no end of number of guests this evening.
Absolutely.
I will not have a pesky notification get in the way.
No, absolutely. I've got a really stinking cold, so you're going to have to help me tonight. But there's nothing better than whiskey and an old-fashioned to help you through that. But my taste buds are seriously compromised tonight.
Oh no, it's not the dreaded bug, is it?
No, it's not. I've tested. It's a cold. There seems to be a cold going round at the moment. A lot of people have it. But I'm on the mend. It's been about a week now. But
good. As long as you're recovering.
I'm recovering. I'm definitely recovering. And tonight is going to help me no end. So
definitely. I mean, I would say the old fashions are medicinal, but I'd get told off by Portman Group, so I could not possibly say that.
No. We can't say anything, but you know.
Exactly. So, welcome to Pour and Sip, everyone. This is our second tasting of September, which is our anniversary month. So you should have your wonderful happy birthday boxes like this. I've got it angled like this so we can see it's on its side.
Steve Coleman Williams is all ready with his orange sugars and things. Although that's with a question mark, though. I don't know if that's asking us, are we
all ready? Well, funny you should say that. I've got my bitters right here. It took me a little while to open. I would suggest that if you're going to be making cocktails later, start trying to get into those bitters now. It's a bit of a tricky game.
Yes, absolutely. I've pre-opened mine. Here's one I prepared earlier, kinds of vibes. So we've got no kind of awkward opening of anything. Jeff saying, yup. I think, have you got a cold as well, maybe? Sorry to hear that. Steve Coleman Williams has never tried an old-fashioned before. So we're educating on cocktails as well. And I think it's possibly one of my favourite cocktails. Is it one of yours, Christy?
It's so delicious. It definitely is. I feel like, Steve, your life will change this evening. So on that note, quick prep list. Here's one prepared earlier for people joining in. Obviously, you need your fabulous pour and sip tumbler, modelled like this. You also need some ice. Not right now, to hand. We're going to be doing cocktails about 8:10, just to give you fair warning. Obviously, the little mini bitters, which are very cute. Your 2 drams. Tonight we're tasting Aber Falls and Deanston. Deanston is the one for the cocktail. And the all-important sugar syrup.
Sugar syrup, which we've just been discussing because some of you might not have sugar syrup. You can buy it in the shops. Have you got yours to hand, Christy, the Monin?
It's the other side of the kitchen, but I can grab it and show it. Otherwise, if you've got just regular sugar, you can mush it up like a sugar cube, whatever you want, you'll be good. But chat for 2 seconds and I'll grab my sugar and you can see it.
We'll be discussing that with Brendan when we're talking about the cocktails, but there are different options. So there is sugar syrup, which is Monin, which Christy has got hers there. Yep, you can buy that in all retailers, I assume, all supermarkets, Fast Malt as well, obviously. But otherwise, if you've got sugar at home, you can use that. Green tea is green, saying I sound very croaky. Thank you very much. I do. Michael Smith, they are definitely medicinal. So yes. Did we miss anything from the list there? Orange.
Yep, you'll need an orange. So we're going to be, well, we'll talk all about it later on, but if you've got an orange to hand, you'll be good. And a peeler, a trusty peeler you will need.
A peeler, yes. I'm not going to recommend anyone with a knife, to be honest with you, trying to peel the orange. Just a peeler, yes.
A peeler is good. Can you tell I've never worked in a bar? I'm like, what else do we need?
I'm never ever going to go to a bar that you're working in, though, Christy, if that's how long it's going to take to get the ingredients together for an old-fashioned.
Exactly. I'm all about the spirits that go into the cocktails, and I'm all about drinking the cocktails. But yeah, we'll see. We're going to pit me and Andy against each other, see who can craft the best old-fashioned as well. And we want to see your pictures too. Yes. So every pour and sip we do, we want to hear from you guys. So we want to hear your questions for our guests. We have loads of guests this evening, by the way. Spoiler alert. We want to hear your tasting notes, very importantly. And for tonight, when we're making cocktails, we want to see pictures of your cocktails as well. So tag at Pour and Sip Club and everywhere, wherever you're posting, we want to see your creations.
Yes, we'll see who's done the best one. Pesho saying to equal parts of sugar and water for making sugar syrup. So yeah, we can get onto that when Brendan's here. So yeah, I'm really excited.
I'm really excited too. I feel like without further ado, we should probably bring our first guests on. And I say guests, so we're tasting Aber Falls first. So ready your tasting glasses with Aber Falls. And while you're running around getting your sugar syrup, we'll be tasting at the same time. You're all great at tasting.
Everyone's mad rush at the moment through the kitchen. Have you got a peeler? Have you got a peeler? Have you got a peeler?
It's so good. Well, grab them quickly, supermarket sweep style, because we have got 3 guests not one, not two, but three to talk to us about this whiskey. It's super exciting. So we're going to welcome Kirsty and Glen and Sam. Hi, folks. How are you doing?
Hi, how are you doing?
Hello, how are you doing?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. So this is good because we can chill for a bit. When I'm chatting with you guys, we don't need to worry about no peelers or sugar syrup. We've got whiskey, and that's all important. So we're going to zip Andy off for now to enjoy his Aber Falls off screen. See you in a bit, Andy.
There was nothing.
Oh, that was brutal. That was absolutely brutal. It's because I'm so impatient because I've got three of you to talk to this evening and I actually cannot wait. This is like beyond exciting. We have never in the history of Pour and Sip had three guests for one dram before, so I can't wait. Without further ado, I think we should do introductions. So I'll start with Sam and then I'll come to you guys. Sam, tell us a little about you and your connection to Aber Falls.
I've worked at Aber Falls since the very start, really. In September 2017, I was employed by Aber Falls. I was actually delivering hospital beds before I started, so it was a bit of a career change for the better. And yeah, we've just gone from there. Really, it's been so good to just watch it grow from when I first went there. We just had the 2 whiskey stills in. There was nothing else, no condensers in yet. Just to watch it grow from that to what we're doing now it's been quite the journey.
Incredible. So what's your role at the distillery?
I'm a team leader in the production side of things. So it's just general looking after the distillery with Glen. All production things related, really.
Amazing. Brilliant. And then we've got Glen. Nice segue over to Glen right there. Tell us a bit about you and what you do at the distillery.
So yeah, like Sam, I'm one of the team leaders in the production side of the distillery. I started as an apprentice, actually. I was the first apprentice and became a operator. And then now along with Sam, I'm one of the team leaders that run the distillery.
Amazing. And Kirsty, I feel like it's an honour to have you here. You've blended some of the most exciting whiskies around. Tell us about your role with parent company Halewood.
Well, basically I'm the master blender for all their whiskies and also some of their rum products as well. So I get the great job of getting to come down to this lovely part of Wales every week or so for a wee visit to have a look at casks and taste different whiskies. It's
good stuff. Tough job, but someone's got to go and check out those casks and see what they're doing. See what they're up to. So, for the eagle-eyed among us, and would have gleaned from conversation and the tasting cards in the pack, Aber Falls is based in Wales, and it's actually a pretty historical distillery because it was the first one in North Wales for over a century, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, very, very cool. Glen, tell us a bit about where the distillery is, about Aber Falls itself, about sort of the setting, because I visited a few years back and it is genuinely so picturesque. Yeah,
we're really lucky. Yeah, we're basically, we've got the mountains behind us and the sea in front of us. We're along the North Wales coast, and like Sam said, the distillery set up just over, near enough 4 years ago, and was an empty site before. And it's amazing the way it's just, it's been put together, and we like I say, the surrounding we've got around us is amazing. Really, we've got the perfect setup to make the perfect whiskey.
I love it. And I'm going to ask you a super quick question, Sam, as well. When I visited, there wasn't a fancy visitor centre. There wasn't anything like this, but I understand times have changed quite a bit.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, so I think we opened it at the start of this year because it was delayed because of COVID, the opening of it, unfortunately. But it's open now in full bistro swinging as well. We've got Gin Lab started soon. It's really exciting. It's dead nice there. But unfortunately, they make us work all the time. We can't sit in there and enjoy it like the public. But it is nice to see people back there drinking gins and drinking the whiskies outside, watching the river go by and stuff. It's good to see.
Of course, you make a really valid point, actually, because Aber Falls isn't just a whiskey brand, and this is so exciting. We'll come to the whiskey in a second. This is the second release, the autumn release. As an aside, we were so keen to get this whiskey in the box that we've gone out with second release, which was a working title. This is your autumn release, I gather. I actually have a full bottle of it lurking somewhere. Ta-da! Here we go, right here. Can model it for people. So tell us a bit about the other products you make and the setup of the distillery, because I feel like there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of the other whiskies behind me as well. We had the inaugural release, which was the first release on the 15th of May. I think we brought that one out. That was a limited one of 2,000 bottles. which sold out very quickly. And then we had the second release was a single cask, which came from an orange wine cask, which is very interesting. And then onto the autumn release, which we have with us tonight. So that's the whiskey side of things.
It's so exciting. I can already see people tasting the whiskies and people cracking on, and I'm just going to resist for a couple more moments before we get stuck in, because Kirsty, I want to hear from you a little bit. We've been working with Aber Falls here with our Diary of a Cask video series, and I encourage anyone watching, if you've not checked it out yet, to go and do so, because it's so interesting to see kind of like a little bit behind the scenes about what happens at distilleries and the role of casks. But Kirsty, how many casks are at the distillery right now? How many do you look after? How many do you have to check in on?
At the moment, we've got over 3,000 casks from 3 years production.
Four, I think. 4,000. Yeah, 4,200 we're up to at the minute, something like that.
Geez. And they're all stored. We store them all in dunnage warehouses, so really easy to get to for me to sample and see how they're doing. Lots of different varieties of casks. That's the one great thing. We've got these orange wine casks. We've got all sorts of sherry casks. We're trying experiments with new casks every couple of weeks. We're getting a new cask in for a new experiment. So it's actually really exciting. Exciting.
This is so exciting. I absolutely love it. So before we move on, and I really want to taste it, and I'm going to read out some tasting notes in a sec as well, because there's so many coming in. Tell us about, what is orange wine? If we're not wine drinkers, we might not have heard of it. And why is it so special for what you're doing?
These orange wine casks, it's not actually what you think of as traditional orange wine. They're actually casks that have come from Huelva, just in the south of Spain. And it's an orange wine liqueur that's made.
Oh, okay.
So basically, they take the orange, they soak it in high-strength spirit, out the orange, put it in with the wine, put it into a cask and let it sit for a while. And you end up with this cask. When the cask comes over, it smells like a chocolate orange. It really is delicious. You shove your nose in it and you can't believe the aromas that come out of it. And when it comes, chocolate with whiskey, orange with whiskey goes really well. So that it just comes together so well. It's an absolutely phenomenal product.
This sounds, you're making me feel Christmassy already. I'm not going to lie. I always think of chocolate oranges and Christmas. So great. So I'm going to read out. I've got a couple of questions as well. Aber Falls, will you be at the Whiskey Show in London on the 3rd of October? That's from Mark.
Yes, we will be.
Yes.
We've got a stand for Aber Falls, and I'm also doing a masterclass on the Saturday.
Very exciting. So you can catch up there if you're heading along. We've got an evening from the Reverend Kevin Wright, who's a bit of a Pour and Sip regular. Love to see it. Elle Sutton, I'm loving the fruitiness on the nose. Joe's getting big pears with hot jams, raisin and vanilla. Ian Jambo Rain, another regular. Hi, Ian. Lots of dark fruit on the nose, this one from the PX, which is great. A question for Glen from Danielle here. Bit of a personal one, but I'm going to go with it. Where is your accent from? Big debate.
South Africa.
South Africa.
I was born in Wales, but I grew up there, and I've come over in the last 8 or so years. So it's a bit of a strange mix of the two. So most people don't get it. They think I'm from New Zealand or something for some reason. There you go.
Definitely Southern Hemisphere. I like it. Back to the tasting notes. Then we will taste. I'm so excited. Green tea is green. The nose is lovely, isn't it? Even my wife, no whiskey lover like this. So that's good news. Converting people already. Jeff, marzipan on the nose for me. Steve is talking about the saltiness of the sea with pears and raspberries. Oh my goodness, it sounds so good. Michael's got a great tasting note. This smells like a really rich fruit crumble. Lots of rhubarb and blackberries with vanilla custard and cinnamon and clove. That's very, very detailed. I like it. Graham, nose is fruity and sweet like an orchard. Reverend Kevin's getting orange, cinnamon and cloves. More cloves again. And then Malcolm's picking out a bit of an evolution here. Started with a red fruit, which I can't bring to mind, followed by a citrus hint and caramel. Divine, divine, divine. So I feel like over to you guys. Talk us through this round. We had a bit of a sneak preview from people who can't resist. I'm struggling to resist. Tell us about the autumn release.
So I don't know, do you guys want to go or do you... Right. Okay, the autumn release is a mix of different casks. We've got some bourbon casks in there. We've got Virgin Oak casks in there. There's also some PX, as we spotted earlier, and Oloroso. So I've also got American oak and European oak. So there's a real mix of different flavours coming together in this. So you've got the lovely dried fruit notes coming through. You get the spice coming through. You get the citrus coming through from the bourbon and the virgin oak influence. You've got that lovely caramel vanilla, and you've also got that lovely spice, the kind of gingerbread spice that you get from the virgin oak cask coming through as well. So it's a real mix of different flavours.
It's really complex. And obviously this is quite a young spirit, but there's a lot going on. A question from me, I guess, before we go into tasting. Is there anything that you do to the casks to get this much life out of them?
Absolutely nothing. We just bring them over, fill our whiskey into them, and away we go. Just the same as everybody else does. Yeah, love and care.
Love and care.
We store them in Wales as well. That's the key. That's the magic. They're kept in Wales.
Made in Wales. Shall we have a little taste? Talk us through the palate as well. I've got so many questions, but I also can't resist. So we're going to get on to the tasting and then we'll carry on chatting. And don't forget, everyone watching, keep your questions coming in as well.
For me, it's so accessible. It's a really easy whiskey to drink. There's no big flavours kicking out on it. It's all very integrated, very rounded. You get that lovely berry notes coming through and maybe a touch of cream. You've got that orangey, citrusy note coming through as well, the vanilla, the spice. It's just for such an easy drinking whiskey.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. I don't know who's best placed to answer this. This is a bit of a techie, geeky question for me. I'm getting so much fruit on this, like first orchard fruit, then citrus, then darker dried fruit. Things like your fermentation time and your production choices, is that all geared towards this really luscious fruitiness? And how do you get those notes in your distillate?
Yeah, so we use, in the spirit you're drinking now, we've got it's copper condensed. So that helps massively with bringing on some of the fruity notes you see. So when we're on spirit with that one, when we're on the heart of the run, you just get, for me, it's just Christmas cake is what I smell. Like instantly, that's what comes to mind. And it's sometimes hard when you're trying to pick up other notes as well and like sort of analyze it a bit more to move away from that first instant hit you get. But yeah, a lot of that influence is from the copper, and obviously the casks as well. Like the selection of casks and the recipe of casks, if you like, is massively important in getting them fruity, sweet, nice notes that you're having now.
It's gorgeous. I feel like this is the perfect dram. I know that the autumn equinox was yesterday, but it feels like a changing of the seasons dram. It does feel like autumn. I know it's the autumn release. It just feels perfectly attuned. A quick question before I go back to some more tasting notes, because there are a lot. This is really exciting. People are getting really stuck into this. You talked a bit there about the heart, like the main cut. Could you just go into a little bit more detail for anyone who's quite new to distillation about what you mean by that?
Yeah, so it's that's on the spirit distillation. So the second distillation after you've distilled the wash, you basically have three parts of the run. You've got the heads, the heart, and the tails. So in the heads, you don't collect that into a separate tank that goes back and it's recycled into the sort of next distillation. And basically, you don't want that because it can be it's not very pleasant basically, and you're basically clearing out a line from what's the previous run as well. And then you switch on to the heart, so that's what you're putting into cask essentially. Sort of the best bit of the running, if you like. You don't want to take it all because it's not all pleasant to drink. So just the heart of the run, and then you cut on a factor of things, so taste, smell, the ABV, temperature, stuff like that. So that's really important in keeping the consistency of your spirit as well.
Fantastic. Cool. I'm going to go back to some taste notes. Now we've got a little taste. There are loads coming through. Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing. Alistair's getting blackberries and a hint of licorice. Oliver just had a whiff. I'm getting bramble fruit jam, a bit of pear crumble and a hint of date with a touch of candied orange peel and spiced toffee. See, I love it. Everyone's so into it. Joe, very smooth dram with gentle raisins and hint of orange peel and cinnamon spice on the tongue. Tastes much better than the smell. Not a fan of pears, so personal choice coming through there. But yeah, I mean, I love a pear, so this is good. Malcolm Tucker, he's talking about maybe in a crumble with the pears, I think. David Walcock is on it for me. Christmas, whiskey-infused Christmas pudding. Yes. Yes, please. If you're thinking Christmas gifting, this could be one for that.
Yeah.
Lee's got, yes. If you've been good this year, you can ask Santa for some other Lee's getting rhubarb and custard sweets. Oh, that's such a great taste in those old school boiled sweets. Love it, love it, love it. Alistair saying he thinks he'll come and see you at the mini masterclass, Kirsty. So you've got a customer right there already.
Oh, fantastic. Looking forward to it.
It's great. Michael's going, on the Christmas shelf with Glenfarclas 15 and Lefroy. I love it. Ian, first Welsh whiskey for me. Smells smooth if you can smell such a thing. So, so good. I'm racing through these. I can't get through everyone. There's so many. Steve, flipping heck, is there anything not in here? It's true. There's loads going on, but they all sit together really nicely, though. I think if you want to delve in, you really can. We got caramel textures coming through from Green Tears Green. And Lee saying defo on my purchase list as well. Really nice. I wonder, he's got a question about the ABV. He wonders if it would be better at a higher ABV. So this is 40%. I wonder, maybe Kirsty, this is a question for you on the blending side of things. How do you decide when a whiskey is at the right ABV for what you want it to do and say?
It depends on the target and what we're looking for to do with the whiskey and the flavours coming out. And you've got to remember this is a 3-year-old spirit as well. So what we're wanting to do is make it lovely and accessible for people to drink and really easy and approachable. So 40% was the best strength to go at. If you see some of our other releases, we will be doing the inaugural was at 46. We're also doing distillery exclusives. It just depends on the whiskey, what we decide is the strength to go with.
Amazing. That's so exciting, the idea of a distillery exclusive. Will that be like a single cask?
We'll be doing single casks and we'll be doing smaller batches, maybe 2 or 3 casks. So there'll be a combination of both.
This is so exciting. And Glen, if I may, I don't know if, I'm just going to ask everyone random questions now because I'm very nosy. Something that I really like about Aber Falls, and from what you've said from day one, is that you're a celebration of all things Welsh. So obviously this is a Welsh whiskey, but you partner a lot with local farmers and other suppliers, I understand. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we're quite involved in the community. Us, for instance, like I say, you mentioned the local farmer. Our draft that we send out, he comes and collects it and feeds it to his cows. So about once every 2 days, he'll come around and pick up his trailer, take it to his cows and mix it in with his feed. It's perfect for him because he gets to feed his cows. He saves money on feed, and it's perfect for us because someone comes and collects our feed and also builds that relationship with the community, which is what we're all about here at Aber, and keeping it Welsh and like I say, and having that relationship with the people around us.
Yeah, I love this. And I imagine that going forward as well, are you going to keep the focus on gins and other things? Because I imagine you could source local botanicals and things like this for the other spirits.
Yeah, so in the past, for instance, we did a Good Life gin where we sourced local botanicals and created a gin from those. It may be something we do in the future and create further expressions. We do partner with, for instance, Hallen One. We do a gin for them. We've done a gin for Port Merion, which is a local town down the road. You may have heard of it. And we've done a couple of gins for them. So we're really big, and like I say, on working with Welsh suppliers and producers as well.
Yeah, that's very cool. Now, a question, and it would be interesting to get each of your takes on this. So, and you probably get asked this a lot, but I'm going to go there anyway. Welsh whiskey as a category. So obviously we've got Scotch whiskey, which has its own rules and regulations. Same with things like bourbon in the US, they've got their own rules and regulations. In Wales, I think we're really lucky that we've got a few whiskey producers from Wales now. Do you think we'll see some rules around what we can call whiskey from Wales? Do you think we'll ever have the same sort of tight definition?
I think you will see GI coming out.
Oh, everyone's got it once. I'm going to go Sam first, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I think will come out in the future. It's actually something we're working with as well. So working closely with the likes of Penderyn, the other Welsh whiskey distillery, Welsh Wind as well. There's a few others that are going on, which is good. You want to see more of them opening. So hopefully we can influence a few more people to set up some Welsh distilleries. But yeah, it's something we're working on and we want to make happen, so we can get that Welsh whiskey category going.
Fantastic. And Kirsty, I think you were going to add something.
Yeah, just that was exactly the same, that we're working on it. Although the thing I like about the Welsh whiskey at the moment is I'm free to play about with different types of casks. Mm-hmm. More free than I was in Scotch, because I can now use different wood types as well, rather than just sticking to oak. So I'm really excited about actually getting in there and trying different, like chestnut and cherry and all sorts of different things to see the effects it has on the whiskey. I
think that's the exciting thing, is that we're creating what is Welsh whiskey, and we can kind of mold that to make, like Kirsty said, something really exciting.
Yeah, I do love it. And you see, different distillers all around the world. I kind of put Welsh whiskey and English whiskey in this like new world whiskey category, where we've got producers doing all kinds of experiments, and it's super exciting to see. I really love it. We've got some more comments coming through, more, trying to get through them. Reverend Kevin says, yes, keep it at 40%, smooth and easy to drink. Richard Francis, I think he's giving a Welsh greeting. Lechyd da, what does this mean? Lechyyd.
It's cheers.
Cheers, is it? And how do we say Lechyd da? There we go. Amazing. Well, he says cheers for this lovely whiskey, which is excellent. I figured it was probably a compliment. Malcolm Tucker is likewise really enjoying this. Peter reckons it's a good dram for somebody new to whiskey, which is really exciting because this is part of our real philosophy here at Pour and Sip. We're about discovery. We're about bringing people in and having fun and, just getting people along a journey. So if you're fairly new to whiskey and this is one of the first ones you tasted, do let us know what you think. Reverend Kevin again saying Davila and Penderyn are good too. This is really good. You've got some Welsh whiskey fans here. Like Reverend Kevin is also into it. And Jeff agrees. Need to be careful not to tie their hands behind their back. Must be able to experiment more than in Scotland. And then Michael, I'm so here for a cherry cask. People want the experiments. People want to see what's going on.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you got anything up your sleeves that you could perhaps tell us about along the lines of experimentation?
We've got quite a lot at the moment, actually. I like trying to get anything as unusual as I can possibly get. And one of the things we're looking at the moment is Vinsanto casks. Got chestnut Vinsanto casks, so it's not oak. So I'm really excited to see the results of what comes out the other end of that one.
That could be incredibly cool. What would you expect the flavours to be like for following a maturation or a finish in that?
I'm kind of expecting some of the kind of flavours you might get in a Marsala or something like that, the kind of rich dessert wine sort of idea. Yeah. I'm interested to see what the chestnut puts into it and what kind of flavours we get coming through from there. So it's one that I'm keeping an eye on, and we'll be sampling every couple of weeks to see where we're going with it.
Keep it like under control, under wraps, so it doesn't do too much in the one direction.
Yes.
Amazing. So some more comments. Pat, this is a great drinking whiskey, not too challenging on the palate and a gentle aftertaste. And Graham Hughes, definitely getting a bottle of this. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, a reminder for our members, there is the Pour and Sip. I can't say this. Pour and Sip shop. It's a tongue twister with member discounts. So if you do like what you taste, go and check it out. And yeah, this is an absolute delight. I'm really, really enjoying it. Super fruity. So again, we've got a couple of minutes left. We've had the autumn release here. Can we expect a winter, spring, summer going forward?
Next year we'll be releasing an NAS, an unaged expression, which will be a standard of the range going forward. But we're also going to be releasing distillery exclusives and also what we're calling a distiller's cut. So small releases of maybe 3 or 4 casks in the distiller's cut, whereas the distillery exclusive with single casks, because we've actually got quite a healthy range of very unusual casks from 3 years ago, because the person who was here 3 years ago had a lot of foresight and laid down some fantastic, some of the spirits amazing. I'm looking forward to going through it myself.
Oh my gosh. I want to come and be, well, I was about to say a fly on the wall, but I just want to come and be nosy, quite frankly, and see what's there. We've got some really great questions just come in. Guys, these are amazing. Keep them coming. Ian Turner, have you considered cider casks, as this is not possible in Scotland, as highlighted in the previous Pour and Sip? So this is true. I think we had our friends at Glen here for a tasting talking about how they had to quietly, sell the cider cask but not make any more. Is that something that's on your radar?
It's something that could well be on the radar, because the Glen cider cask was a lovely product. Yeah. It was a really nice whiskey. So yeah, it's an apple whiskey, again, a combination that works so well. So we've got Calvados casks at the moment. So cider's kind of the next step. We'll look for a Welsh cider producer and use a local producer for it.
Yeah.
Well, this is incredibly exciting. I love this.
We'll this idea.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And then here's a really geeky question from Pesho, which I adore. Will you get different oxygen transfer with different woods?
You will do, because there's different porosity in the different wood types, yes. So you'll get different, tighter grain, looser grain, the same as you get different losses in different casks. It's partly because of the interaction with the air and the whiskey. So yeah, you will get different amounts of oxidation with different casks.
And is that to do with like how tight the grain is and things like this?
That does affect it quite substantially, yeah.
Yeah. I love it. That's so exciting. So exciting. Richard has, I would say, thrown me under the bus, but I wouldn't be so kind once more, with another Welsh saying, which I recognise as thank you so much. Dulce for Iwan.
Diolch yn fawr iawn.
There we go. We're going to all have to come to Aber Falls for a Welsh lesson as well as a whiskey tasting, I feel. I think that we'll have to have this. We'll all come as a big old group and you can teach us Welsh and we can taste some of your incredible casks.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And please, so we've pretty much run out of time. I don't know where this has gone. I feel like I've had like 2 sips of this whiskey because I've been talking so much. But thank you so much for joining us. Can you hang around and join us again at the very end for more whiskey chit chat?
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Looking forward to it.
Of course, yeah. No problem.
Fantastic. And please join us for cocktail hour as well. So I'm going to bring Andy back in if I can find him. We have so many guests, I'm losing track of them. Hi, Andy. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm very well. I mean, I have enjoyed my foray into Welsh whiskey very much.
So have I. Very much so. But I mean, to be honest with you, I honestly, this cold is doing my head in, so I'm not got the absolute taste that I should have got out of it. But I'm lucky because I can open this and I'll be able to much more of it at another time when this cold has left me. So I'll be looking forward to that because it's really wonderful stuff.
Fantastic. Thank you so much again, team. Thank you to Sam, Kirsty and Glenn. It's been amazing having like a whole panel to talk about a dram. I've loved it. We'll see you again in a bit. Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye, guys.
Wonderful stuff indeed. Oh my goodness. I was loving our wonderful like everyone talking in Welsh in the comments, but I very much failed to replicate.
I was going to ask you if you were okay, to be honest. I don't know if there was a system malfunction. It was like Restream was freezing or something when you were speaking that last. But yeah, anyway, I can't read Welsh either. You did a better job than I would on that last one. No idea how you pronounce
I can only apologise to the people of Wales. But it's, yeah, I mean, they bring us amazing whiskey. I do a terrible job of reading out Welsh, but there we go. On this note, I think it's time to bring in our second guest, and because it's cocktail hour, right? It's cocktail hour. Yes. So let's bring in Brendan.
Let the game.
Oh, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. I'm going to leave you in Andy's safe hands, but I will wait for the bat signal and come back for cocktail shortly.
Sounds good.
See you in a bit.
See you later. Malcolm Tucker just saying that Andy, the Aber Falls has improved your voice. I'm still not sure. I'm still feeling very croaky. But anyway, how are you, Brendan?
I hope that's the real Malcolm Tucker from the thick of it. I really hope so. I am so tempted to do Malcolm Tucker quotes, but all of them involve sweary words, so I better not.
We'll save that for another tasting session. How are you?
I'm good. I'm not in my house. I am in the luxury surroundings of Dundonald Links, this unbelievable golf course in Ayrshire. So I'm living the Cribs life, you know, so it's pretty good.
And is this your room?
This is my room. Yeah, this is my room. It's
and there was some Deanston already there for you.
I never travel alone. There's also wrong one. Pour and sip. There's a pour and sip here.
There's a pour and sip box waiting in the room for you.
There's a wee bit of Virgin Oak and a little glass here just for a wee dram before we do cocktails, because you know I am a Scotch maker first before a wonderful amateur cocktail maker.
Yeah, well, no, you're the professional in this case, because me and Christy have shown how we're not the most comfortable with this, and we're not bar people. But anyway, so I thought before we go to do the cocktail, let's just have a little brief discussion about yourself, the distillery, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Virgin Oak, because it'd be interesting to see why the Virgin Oak cask would go well in an old fashioned. But talk to us a bit about yourself, and then a bit how you found yourself at Deanston.
Yeah, so I am. I'm the master distiller at Distill. So I just took this job on about 6 months ago. Just terrifying to think it's been 6 months, because, you know, it's felt like 30 seconds, but 30 seconds on a very scary roller coaster, you know, it's just like went by like that. So I've been in the whiskey industry for 15 years. I'm a chemical engineer to trade, if you like. I joined Diageo. I spent 8 years there working my way through pretty much every part of making single malt whiskey. So I've been a maltster. I've been a buyer, I've been a distiller. You could probably add some swear words. now. I've been a distillery manager at Oban. I lived on Isla for 3 years running the group. Then after Diageo, I joined Moët Hennessy. So I used to make Glenmorangie and Ardbeg. And now I'm the master distiller. So I'm responsible for Tobermory, Deanston, Bunnahabhain, Scottish Leader, Black Bottle. And I'm also responsible for all our blending, our inventory, and making the whiskies. So it's, every job I've had is like a dream job. Yeah, every job I've had is like a dream job, and this one is another dream job. And I think this is the one. The plan is, this is it. You know,
you're not there right now.
No, the next 20 years. And, you know, I'm like 40 now. I'm 41 actually. So 20 years is ambitious from a man growing up near Glasgow. We don't live long. So we'll see.
Well, we did actually have, I think we had Deanston actually a while back. I can't remember what we did. But for anyone who's not familiar with the distillery, talk to us a bit about the distillery, where it is.
Yeah, so Deanston is very close to the town of Doon. Doon is, you know, famous for a very historic castle. It's also famous for, that's where Monty Python and the Holy Grail was filmed.
Was it actually?
Yeah. And it's also famous for just being a beautiful, quaint little Scottish village. It's very close to the town of Stirling, the city of Stirling, excuse me. And I live very close to there.
That's not the castle at the start of the Holy Grail where they come up to the castle and they're doing the French taunting.
It might be that. Yeah, it is actually. And then there's a cave where they film, which is in Doon as well. All around Doon, they did lots of Monty Python filming. And there used to be a wee festival that happened there for a little bit. I'm not sure what happened to that. I don't know. But yeah, so it's very close to Stirling, and Stirling's where I live. So it's kind of like my local distillery, you know. So my commute when I'm based at Deanston, my commute is 9 minutes through like fields and just, you know, seeing deer at the side of the road, and it's just stunning.
It's not on the London Underground at 9 a.m. surrounded by people, noise, tide, just you know, very different commute. Very different. It's really, really quite beautiful actually. Getting all romantic in my old age. Yeah, that sounds it. So let's talk about the Virgin Oak. Let's talk about Virgin Oak casks firstly and what they offer. I mean, this has been finished in Virgin Oak casks, but let's talk a bit about them. They don't come themselves often in the Scotch industry in comparison.
Yeah. So it's like, I'll talk a tiny bit, I swear. And if you believe that, you believe anything, because I always talk for a long time. But I'll talk a tiny bit about Deanston first. So Deanston Distillery, it's right on the River Teith. And there we make a whiskey spirit character that's pretty unique. So we make a spirit character that is waxy. So you'll hear about fruity spirit, you'll hear about smoky spirit. Sometimes you might hear about meaty or sulphury spirit characters. But Deanston, it's pretty unique, pretty special stuff. It's just like, you almost like, you do very clear mashing, you do a long fermentation, you supercharge the fruitiness in the fermentation, but then you almost like put it all into one big infusion chamber. You know, this is almost like your slow cooker or your smoker if you're into barbecue cooking. You know, you're just letting everything low and slow kind of develop and infuse. And then when you distill that, taste of fruit, it's very citrusy, but it's waxy first. It has this incredible mouthfeel, is this unbelievable kind of texture and balance and grip and versatility. So that spirit can be matured in pretty much every cask you can think of, but it's really great in sherry cask. It works wonderfully in red wine, but I love it in American white oak. So ex-bourbon cask is what we use for our classic 12-year-old Deanston. It's what we use for our iconic 18-year-old Deanston. But I really love the one that we're on tonight, Virgin Oak. So what we do is, it's non-aged, so it's a range of ages matured in ex-bourbon casks. So they're pretty much on their way to becoming Deanston 12-year-old. But to like sort of supercharge the spiciness, you know, to give it that clove, that cracked black pepper, that toasted oak flavour, and also to give it more vanilla and more cream, we put it into Virgin Oak casks for around about 9 to 12 months, a kind of classic finishing time.
Yeah, and absolutely. So I think we should have a little smell of this first. So we're going to try and use as much as possible of this whiskey in our cocktail.
True.
Because we've only got 3 centilitres here.
Yeah. So measure out accurately half a centilitre, ladies and gentlemen. You know, an accurate pipette. Think like your chemistry exams. Or the other trick is become the master distiller and you get a bottle for free. You know, that's like Bill Nye and, you know,
there you go, Paul. Let's all become master distillers from now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour the whole thing, but then I'm only just going to have a smell of it, and then I'll be pouring it from here.
I think that's a good idea. Pour into the glass you're going to make your cocktail in. Have a little sip.
A little nose. So obviously the Virgin Oak casks, American white that hasn't been used before. So we're talking about first fill here. So why is it that these aren't used as often in the Scotch industry for longer periods of times, like full maturations?
Oh, there's probably a series of reasons, but traditionally, it's what's used by. You like that grammar? Traditionally,
how many years of Virgin Oaks is it?
Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? So it's usually used in America for bourbons and rye. You know, so by law they have to use oak casks that are made, and they can only use them once. So it's something that exists for making bourbons and making rye, and it makes them taste the way they taste. Full maturation, 2 to 4 years, and it's fantastic. Then those ex-bourbon casks are really suited to Scotch whisky. Our climate, our length of maturation, which is this huge, long maturation, it all just suits Scotch. And that's why primarily the main cask I'm going to use for Deanston and for some of our other distilleries is ex-bourbon cask. But the thirst for single malt is growing year on year, and the desire for new or unique or innovative is growing. So that's why across the Scotch whisky industry, people are starting to experiment with casks that weren't traditionally used. And we're also just kind of skipping past the bourbon stage and just bringing some brand new Virgin Oak casks straight to Scotland. What they give is it's like a supercharged ex-bourbon cask. You get massive amounts of vanilla, you get a touch of coconut, you get a big hit of spice, you get a big sort of toasty oak kind of number coming out of it. And it also gives like amazing roundness to whiskey as well when you use Virgin Oak. So you need to use it carefully, you need to use it skillfully, but what it does is it creates an amazing whiskey at the end.
Absolutely. Guy CP asking, I think you've already measured, roughly how long would you say this is finished for in the Virgin Oak casks?
So the finish is 9 to 12 months.
9 to 12 months.
Roughly. And like with everything in whiskey, you know, it's a bit like a Billy Connolly joke. It's roughly about there. Don't take it as a written rule.
Okay. Richard Francis, dark sugar and fudge, delicious. Gareth Peters, the colour of this is amazing. Roger Ford, delicious stuff. Green tea is green. Love the nose and the colour of the Deanston. Beautifully rounded and beautifully full. I think we should get Christy back, and I think we should put this into our cocktail and start making those.
Hello. I'm ready to party.
My ice has been melting here, and I assume yours is fresh out the freezer.
I mean, that I would say it's an unfair advantage, but no, I got it out at the start of this, but I kept it in the glass that I had it in, which is separate to what I'm putting it in, so it's kept itself cold.
Yeah. It is good to hear that your ice is obeying all 3 laws of thermodynamics, if that helps. That's why it's melting. So it's meant to do that. Otherwise, if it wasn't melting, I would worry for you and I'd tell you to run.
A few more tasting notes before we get into this. Green tea is El Sutton. Wow, a mouthful of honey and vanilla. Lee Barter agreed vanilla fudge on the nose. Steve Coleman Williams, almonds, vanilla fudge, and freshly waxed oak on the nose for me. In Jambo Rain, lots of almonds on the nose for me.
Waxed oak, love that. Waxy, waxy, waxy. You know, Mr. Miyagi's favourite whiskey, I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely. Right, I'm going to go grab another couple of ice cubes because these have melted just that bit too much for me, and I want to win this competition because me and Christy are going head to head tonight. Who makes the best old fashioned?
So when you say they've melted a bit too much, you mean they're water?
They're water.
So Charlotte, who is everyone will know her but not know her, who curates all our things on social media, has given myself and Andy strict instructions that we must make beautiful cocktails and photograph them. I feel like she's got like, you know, her belief is far too high in us.
So I'm going to make my old fashioned in one container and then strain it into another container.
Oh, that's a pro tip right there. So we need our...
Don't have to, but I'm just going to do that for, you know.
If we don't have our strainer with us, can
Do it in
we
one glass. Do it in the one
do it
glass.
in one glass with the ice already in the glass, or do it without the ice
Well,
in?
let's go for it. So I'm going
I'm
to
gonna
use.
grab a strainer. But do you start?
I'm going to use this. This is the Mark II tumbler from Casa Macaroon, where I live. So I'm going to take my beautiful Deanston Virgin Oak. In. I feel like Gordon Ramsay. Oh, come on, madam. So simple syrup. A dash of simple syrup. See if you were going to get hung up on simple syrup. Experiment. Make the old-fashioned a couple of times. Use a dash. Use a big amount. Use something in between. Work out what suits you. It really is as simple as how sweet a tooth do you have. If you want to make your own simple syrup at home, see whatever container you have, fill it with sugar, pour that into whatever container you have, and then fill the exact same amount with water and pour it over the sugar. And all you need to do is mix it, chuck it in the fridge, leave it for a couple of hours. You have simple syrup. You'll read about, cook it under heat or this or that. Jason from Bramble, who is a brilliant cocktail maker, and so he showed me how to do a couple of cocktails during lockdown. He assures me that's the best way to make simple syrup.
Okay.
That's it. So simple syrup's in. Deanston Virgin Oak is in. Tiny, tiny, tiny little bitters that requires dexterity that I do not possess. So this could be a disaster. Thank God I didn't wear a white shirt. We did it. I like quite a lot of bitters. So I'm going to put in 3 dashes, but 2 dashes for some people. And when I say 3, I'll do a couple for luck as well, because I do like it. And there we go.
Caution, it's not a dash, it pours.
It does pour. So,
literally just about. This is not a pipette at all.
I like that shout.
I'm going to have a very bitter old fashioned on my hands now.
I like that shout of caution. You sounded like Treguard from Nightmare, that 1990s child's Amiga graphic program that I loved. Right, so before I wander down the times of my youth, I'm now going to chuck in ice. So I've put in a wee bit of ice. A wee bit is a Scottish word that means anywhere between 2 and infinity, for anyone who's not Scottish. And then just start stirring. So we're going to add more ice, but right now we're stirring. And the key to a great old-fashioned is a bit of dilution. Now, great bartenders, I've no doubt, will be howling at me on the screen. I have got better making cocktails during lockdown. It's lockdown inspired. But it's all about the dilution. So stir it. I think someone came up with some wild story of you need to stir it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something, which of course is a load of nonsense. Just stir it for a decent bit. You want the ice to melt, and it's just going to dilute the whiskey a little bit. It's going to dilute the old-fashioned a little bit. And then just keep giving it a wee stir. And the reason I really like a Virgin Oak old-fashioned is, well, first of all, Scotch is better than bourbon. There, I said it. But, we all know. I love bourbon, but don't worry, Scotch is better. It's got this sort of signature note of Deanston for me is this waxed oranges. And what do you use to garnish an old-fashioned is an orange, and it's that kind of, the citrus jumps in and it cuts through the bitterness of the bitters. So that's why I love it. So let's stop it there. If you have patience or time or someone else to do it for you, you can keep stirring away for as long as you want. What I'm going to do is I'm now going to take my, look at that, my pour and sip branded glass from Master Malt. Thank you very much. I'm going to put a wee bit of fresh ice in this.
Good call.
Thank you. And then I'm just going to
stir it away.
Yeah, I'm just going to strain this right over. But don't worry, if you've done it all in the one vessel, the whole trick is for the ice to dilute the drink. So in we go. Strain. Perfect. And now I'm going to attempt to chop off my own finger by peeling off a big old bit of garnish. I've got visions of my wife getting home from work tonight and going, where's that orange that I bought? Because there was a solitary orange in the house and I nicked it. So sorry, Susie. I do apologise. But
yeah, I'm not going to chop off my fingers. Okay. Okay.
Look at that.
Ooh. This is a brand new peeler and it's extremely sharp. I'm slightly alarmed.
So
I'm unscathed.
Nice. We've all got it. So I'm going to twist mine up. If you're fancy, you can use a lighter to express the oils, but just give it a proper corkscrew twist and you'll feel it on your fingers. This isn't for show. It's not some stupid ceremony. You'll feel the oils getting expressed out of the skin. Give that a wee wrap around the rim of your glass. Then if you're going for Instagram fancy, try and perch it at a jaunty angle if you can. And that's it.
I've ripped my orange peel in half, so I'm going to try that again.
Well, that'll express lots of oils, I guess. Maybe you're a visionary.
That's what I was going for. Just the accidental. I knew that was going to happen. There we go. That seems small. Anyway, cheers, everybody.
Cheers, folks.
Cheers.
I want to see pictures of your old fashions.
I'm going to take a picture of mine before we drink it because it feels like this. If I drink it, there's going to be any more less liquid.
Same. I'm going to pretend it's like some fancy like selfie vibe, but.
Are you doing a selfie, Christy? Or are you?
I might do a selfie too. I'm just going to do a little wee portrait mode. Everyone in the background. Well,
I think everyone should be doing the same at this point in time.
we do want to see your old fashions. So
yeah,
you
absolutely.
must share. You must share.
Yes, right. Should we give this a go?
Cheers.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, get stuck in. I'll show you my.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I love an old.
Shockingly, not too overbittered, I will say, despite my
I'm.
pour.
Oh, that's a great photo.
That's my
It's
favourite.
one he made earlier.
That one you made earlier.
Feel free to see my Instagram. Hint, hint, ladies and gentlemen.
Where can we find you on Instagram?
At MCC_Brendan. So it just slips off the tongue. I'm not into social media. I do love Instagram.
I love bitter cocktails. Like I love a Negroni.
Mm-hmm.
I love kind of any kind of dark, like Campari based. So actually, more bitters for me works actually than with the ratio with maybe a bit less simple syrup and more. So again, by accident, we've poured too much Angostura in, and it's been a happy accident.
Yeah, I love it. So a lot of people, if I'm making an old fashioned with bourbon or especially with rye, because rye is so, spicy and in your face, I like quite a lot of sugar in it. But with a Scotch, especially with Deanston Virgin Oak, because it has that creaminess, because it has the waxed oranges in there already, I just look for a splash, a splash of simple syrup. But it's the same as it's your whiskey, so make a cocktail with it if you want. It's your cocktail, so play about with the ingredients and have fun with it, and then work out what works for you.
I think it's so true. I have to say, in lockdown, I made myself quite a few cocktails, and before lockdown, I was almost scared to because I was like, well, I don't want to mess it up. But
I was the same.
No other alternative. One becomes quite resourceful.
I was the same, and then also again, I do love a name drop. So I'm Instagram friends, or I'm friends actually with Jason, who runs Bramble, and I'm also friends with Ryan. I'm not going to attempt his second name, but Mr. Lion. So it was quite cool to just say, hey, Ryan, how you doing? Could you help me make a cocktail? And my friend's like, who's your friend? And I was like, Mr. Lion. It's like one of the most famous cocktail makers in the world. He's like, yeah, no problem. I'll help you out. So it got me better. I wouldn't say I'm amazing at making cocktails, but an old-fashioned, a martini, a Bloody Mary, I now attempt them, whereas I was the same. I would just shy away because I could go to a bar and just order one, whereas now I love it.
My lockdown discovery was Sazerac. I absolutely love a Sazerac now. That's such that requires quite a lot of effort. You got to get it just seems such a shame to waste absinthe. That's just what I think with the Sazerac. You got to absinthe rinse the glass and then throw it away. And I'm just like, why would you do that?
Just throw it away into your mouth. No one's watching.
Exactly. I don't know why more bartenders don't do this.
You're at home. The other thing I love, if you make an old fashioned at home and then you drink an old fashioned and you're like, God, that was really good. You can't be bothered making another one. But it's great to just almost use that as the rinse of the glass and then just put some more Deanston Virgin Oak in there. And it sort of works. It's this lovely little alternate. Absolutely.
Should we read some of these comments, Chrissy? We've got loads of comments.
I think so. We've got a lot of amateur bartenders coming through, which I'm very impressed by.
It's your Uncle Banyan. I'm cheating with a drop of orange oil flavouring. Turns out okay, actually. Michael Smith, loving the concentration faces when peeling. It was just a desperate attempt not to cut our fingers off on Restream. That's what it was for me.
Trying to avoid a trip to A&E at all costs.
Mike Wally, orange from the hotel on Monday. The peel adds a lot. Homemade simple syrup. This is nice. Oh, you've gone with the homemade simple syrup. Very good. I wonder if you put earlier.
Bonus points, I feel. Bonus points.
Bonus points, big time. Roger Ford, I could listen to this guy all day. He's definitely talking about me. No.
Not true. That's not true. Thank you, Roger. Thank you.
Yes. Michael Smith, happy birthday, pour and sip. Pesho, can we get him every week? Yes.
Really?
We're working on it. Richard Francis, how big are those ice cubes? How big are yours, Christy?
Well, they've melted a bit now, but standard size, standardized.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan when I go to buy and you get like a huge block ice cube in an old fashioned or in a Negroni or something like that. It makes a big difference to me.
If anyone wants, like, I'd say you want to use small ice cubes for the stirring part, okay, if you're going to strain, because you want dilution. Dilution is pretty important for making a really good old fashioned. But see, the big rocks ice, like, buy them. You know, there's a website that sounds a bit like a river. There might be a master of malt section where you can buy large ice cubes. And the other one is, if you don't have that, just fill up a plastic bottle with water, put it in the freezer, and then rip out the plastic and just smash it up. And it looks pretty cool as well.
I've heard people say ice cream tubs, freezing ice cream tubs. Slicing it off works.
Yeah, that looks awesome as well. And it looks quite fancy. You look all badass and stuff when you're making ice cubes for people. You know, looks like you can live off the land.
I've got all these nice kinds of molds that you just put them into the mold. It's very simple. Then put them in the freezer, take them out, and it looks like you've got a really fancy kind of bar style ice cube, which are really good, rather than having to hack away at an ice cream tub afterwards. Alistair Taff, mine is neat. Couldn't bring myself to do it. I think, yes, I mean, I'm loving this. Absolutely. The Virgin Oak cask works really well in this, for this cocktail for me. So,
but again, that's fine. So remember, it used to be, do not put anything into whiskey. How dare you do it? You're a disgrace because you added water or something. That was just my dad speaking to me. It's the same. If you cannot bring yourself to do it because you love the whiskey neat, more power to you. You know, if you love it, brilliant. We can't now suddenly start telling everyone, oh, you must make a cocktail out of it. But for other people, it's absolutely fine because it tastes amazing.
Absolutely. Graham Hughes. Well, I'm going to do mine tomorrow when I've got everything together. Yes. Okay. And that sounds like a good idea. Al Sutton. Ooh, nice. That's how he said it. Exactly like that. Pesho. It's better neat. The old fashioned was lovely though. Oliver Butterworth, gorgeous old-fashioned. Reverend Kevin Wright, I haven't got an orange, but it's very, very tasty. Something to experiment with. Thanks. Michael Smith, this is so, so good. Stephen Coleman Williams, for my first attempt, I do like it. No idea if I've done it well, though. That's like Brendan was saying, you'll kind of work it out yourself as you go along and you make more and more cocktails. You kind of work out what it is you like. Do you want it a bit sweeter? Do you want more of those bitter kinds of notes? So that's a journey. If
you like it, you've done it well.
Yes, I was thinking that. Yeah, if you like it,
in a nutshell.
Keep going.
Barter, nice, love an old fashioned. Graham Hughes had a little sip, neat, and it's nice. Nigel Gain, I put a splash of Tropicana fresh OJ in it. Seems to have worked, though I'm not sure it's correct. There's no talk about correct or not correct. I mean, you may have uncovered something. You may have invented a cocktail yourself there. With the Tropicana.
Sounds like the new fashion or something.
New fashions, yes. Danielle K, does tangerine count? I think as the peel.
Yeah.
It definitely does, right?
Of course it does.
Steve Coleman Williams has attempted to, his attempt has been shared on Twitter. Oh, yes. Thank you for the heads up. Okay, so we should probably bring, because we are absolutely running out of time, we should probably bring the others back as well, just to have a little chat.
Let's bring back Sam and Kirsty and Glen. Here's Sam, here's Kirsty and Glen. How are you all? Oh my gosh, look at this amazing group of people we have.
We party.
It's a party. It's our birthday party, and it feels like a party with this many people.
A COVID birthday party.
Yes, I'm in the kitchen, so it makes sense.
It's amazing. Did any of you guys attempt a cocktail?
No, we're sitting in the distillery and we didn't have the kit in front of us, so unfortunately, no, we didn't.
That is all good. What are your favourite whiskey cocktails?
Plenty of whiskey though, so we're all right.
Yeah, you got whiskey, so you're good. But yeah, what are some of your favourite whiskey cocktails to everybody?
I sort of struggle with making them. They never.
Go on.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, I struggle with making them myself. So like myself, I just go to a bar and order them normally, but I do like an old fashioned as well. I didn't have the orange with me tonight, so I'm gonna like you said, watch it back and make it again sometime.
I'll get some practice in. Yeah, definitely. It's a good excuse to practice making cocktails for sure.
I
Definitely.
love a Sazerac.
Yes, I'm with you there.
But also like a whiskey, just a plain old whiskey and coke. There's nothing up with that. It's a nice drink as well.
I mean, I love a whiskey and ginger or a simple highball. Like when a lot of my friends are drinking like G&Ts or having pints of beer, I'll just have like a whiskey and ginger. It's perfect.
There's one that requires a bit of work, but it is amazing. Is a penicillin. Penicillins are brilliant.
That's with peaty whiskey, right? And like lemon.
Yeah, so I think officially it's a blended Scotch with a smoky single malt over the top, but you also need to do a honey ginger lemon syrup, I think, from memory. But there's a whole thing to making that syrup, which is a wee bit of extra work. But once you make it, it's amazing. And then
I've had it in a bar, and I've absolutely loved the penicillin. And then I've read the recipe during lockdown, and I was a bit like, that definitely is a bit too much effort.
If you get the syrup right, yeah. But the good thing is the syrup keeps for a wee bit, and the good thing is it's going to go off, so it makes you have to have a few more.
I keep going.
Christy, what about you?
Oh, I love an old fashioned so much. Like on Manhattans as well. Basically anything where the whiskey is like the star player, but there's a little bit of extra going on. I'm so here for it. Oh my gosh, Elle Sutton's just reminded us. You're forgetting the smoky cokey floaty. Let's never forget the smoky cokey floaty.
Yes. Can you read what Steve Coleman Williams has written here?
He wants us to sing a happy birthday to Danielle Kay.
I was the Welsh above of that.
Oh, that's gone off my screen. I can't.
I was like, your Welsh has been so good tonight. I was like, I can't possibly pronounce it.
No, I missed it. But I mean, I probably won't sing, but I will say a very hearty happy birthday to Danielle. Happy birthday to you. Amazing. And do you know what? We haven't mentioned food pairing until Michael Smith piped up. On Pour and Sip, for anyone who doesn't know if it's your first tasting, we always end up going down food routes, and it makes me ever so hungry. Michael is suggesting a Deanston pairing, Deanston old-fashioned pairing with an orange peel and ginger cake, which actually would be really delicious, I feel.
Yeah, that'd work. If you go same and same, that'd definitely work. And then the other thing that I love Deanston with, is like hard cheese, like manchego cheese or something like that, with a bit of honey over the top of it. It's pretty good. Plus, I also just love cheese. So.
Cheese. Here we go. You're going to set Christy off. You're going to set Christy off.
I have manchego in the fridge. Oh my gosh, manchego in the fridge and honey in the cupboard. I know what the rest of my evening is.
That sounds like a Tinder strapline.
I mean, definitely a date for one, but yeah, sure. It's self-care, right? Self-care.
Yeah.
Amazing. So we have to ask Andy, as we do every tasting. It's a bit different this time because we didn't really taste the Deanston. So we're going to say, let us know your dram of the month before we wrap up, because that's always really important to know. And it's been fantastic. It's been an amazing way to celebrate Pour and Sip's birthday. We've had guests galore, incredible drams, and a cocktail. What more could we want?
Nothing. Nothing. I mean, we're going to have to top this next year.
I know.
For our second birthday, because Jeff has said, where's that comment go? Thank you, Pour and Sip, for a brilliant year. Thoroughly loving it. Looking forward to the next decade.
I like it. We've got 9 more years to go to hit that 10-year mark.
9 more birthday parties to go. 9 more kind of boxes to come up with. Oliver Butterworth, need to try Sazerac now. Yeah, that's absolutely my favourite whiskey-based cocktail. A Sazerac, that and an old fashioned and a Manhattan. I suppose those are the main 3, aren't they? Anyway. So, yeah.
I was just trying to do a quick calculation to work out how many drams you would have tasted in 10 years, and I think it's 600 if my maths has not failed me.
That's quick maths. That's quick.
Well, is it 5 times 12 is 60 times 10? Get me on countdown. Get me on countdown.
My maths is awful. Alistair Taff, Wilderness Trail is his winner this month, but he's really loved them all. And I'm awaiting more comments.
Keep them coming in. I feel like I literally couldn't choose this month because, I mean, obviously we wanted to have great drams for our birthday, but they've all been really, really wonderful, which has just been a fantastic treat. And to have guests like you all as well, it's just been fabulous.
Yes.
I get it. You're saying you can't choose, but I know you mean Deanston. I get it.
no, Aber Falls.
I understand.
We don't usually have a fight between the guests when we do everyone's favourite. This could be a first. I think, green tea is green. Jam of the night, Deanston Virgin Oak of the month, Wilderness Falls, Malcolm Tucker, Nick Neen for this month. Richard Francis, Aber Falls for us. Reverend Kevin Wright, Nick Neen equal with Aber. Love them both. Michael Smith is asking for a pour and sip trip to Deanston. So that's everybody who's a member of Pour and Sip on their way to Deanston in quite a few coaches. David Walcott, been a great year. Happy birthday. Absolutely. I mean, we've discovered a hell of a lot of drams this year. I mean, and like I think everyone's discovered so many new styles of whiskey from all over the world, places we didn't expect, new distilleries. It's been pretty incredible. So
yeah, it's been amazing.
Everybody, happy birthday. Michael Smith, surely the second birthday should be an in-person tasting in Scotland.
Yes,
yes,
please.
It will be. Dutton, Wilderness Trail for me, Aber Falls close second. Roger Ford, don't know what I've loved more, the whiskey or the guests, all have been amazing. Steve Williams, the Boutique Whiskey Company for me. Rob Bester, Wilderness for me, Boutique, then Deanston. The game, very enjoyable year, learned lots about whiskey.
It has been fantastic, honestly. And thank you so much to all of you, all four. We've never had 4 guests on one session before, so it's been an absolute treat for us, for sure, to get to chat to so many people and share the whiskey love.
Are you making yours even more bitter there?
I'm just having a wee look at. I've seen how the pouring works. I was trying to see if I could get it to just drop, but it didn't.
It really did just work. I think mine went, to be honest, but I liked it. It was a happy accident. So, so green tea is green. Dram of the night, Deanston Virgin Oak. We've already done that. Jeff, money going towards the Advent calendar this month. Did we mention about the Advent calendar?
Well, not this time. So on the last tasting, which is very exciting, I mean, we snuck a pour and sip Advent calendar into the member store very quietly, and I would give it maybe 10 minutes before someone mentioned it in the comments. So, I mean, nothing says Christmas is coming like an Advent calendar, right? So if you want to relive some of our very favourite drams from this year, check out the Advent calendar. It's us picking like 24 of our favourites from the last 12 months. So if you want a little refresh, a little like reminder, a little recollection, trip down memory lane, then the Advent calendar could be the one for you, for sure.
Absolutely. And we will have tastings for our October box on the 7th and the 21st. So tasting dates are back to normal for everybody.
Definitely.
And we hope to see you all there. El Sutton, great guests tonight. Absolutely. I think everyone's enjoyed tonight. So shall we bid everybody farewell, Christy?
We'll bid everyone farewell. I mean, I think Andy just wants to make another old-fashioned, quite frankly. He's trying to get rid of it. Amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much to our guests. You've been absolutely incredible. Thank you to everyone for tuning in, for all of your questions. Don't forget to post your old-fashioned snaps. We really want to see them. And we'll see you next month, 7th of, I was about to say September, but October. Where is the year going? Good night, folks. Take care.